conversation is not serving me in any way, shape, or form. Like, I want more energy to pursue someone of, of higher quality, of someone who meets my standards, who someone's like me. And I want to put that energy into my work and become the best version of myself. As men, like, we should be the ones who should be refraining from sex as much. You know what I mean? One, because...
Welcome to the Numbers of Purpose podcast. Today's guest is someone who truly lives the work he teaches. Corey Boutwell is the founder of Set the Standard, a retreat leader, speaker, coach, and the heart behind one of the most respected men's communities in Australia. But what makes Corey's approach different? He doesn't just coach men, he walks them through their hero's journey. Because every man has one. And according to Corey, you're either stuck in the wrong chapter or finally ready to write a new one. In this episode, we unpack the raw truth behind nice guy syndrome and how it keeps men small. What it really takes to become the hero of your own life. Nervous system regulation as the foundation for personal power. Healthy masculinity, real leadership, and why men need brotherhood. Whether you're a man ready to rise or a woman ready to understand the masculine heart more deeply, this episode is going to move you. So, let's go. Corey, welcome.
Julia, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So, when did we meet? A couple weeks ago, right?
It's been longer than that. Yeah. It's been a month and a half, 2 months ago,
And it's interesting that I love Hero's Journey. And that's exactly the question you asked me, right?
Yeah.
About Hero's Journey. And I'm like, oh, this person is very interesting. And you very deep. And I love what you do.
Thank you.
I think I told you that, like, hey, like, you need to write a book. You need to do something. You need to do all of these things so more men can actually, hear you and take your advice and, be better. Whoops. Okay, so my first question for you would be, where is it? You've coached hundreds of men through their hero's journey. And what was the moment you realized that you were in yours?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. I didn't really know that I was in a hero's journey until I learned exactly what the hero's journey was. And then I become obsessed with it. So I think I was just watching Jordan Peterson videos, and he talked something about the hero's journey. And I remember I was just like, there's something in me that I just felt so intrigued to learn. I was like, what is this? And he was like, the hero's journey is the way of man. So, and it's like been encoded in our history, and it's been told through, I think it was a clip. It was like, oh, this is a story that's been told that everyone runs through since the history of time. And any movie that you watch that isn't aligned with the hero's journey, you get completely bored, or it's like a bad movie. And then, the purpose of that, because I grew up singing, dancing, and acting, was like, okay, well, I want to create my own hero's journey for me. And it just makes sense to me that if I applied it to my own life, that I'd be able to, live a life that has fun and fulfillment and purpose and something that I'm proud of. And I remember when I was first starting out coaching entrepreneurs, I was like, wow, the entrepreneur's journey and the hero's journey is exactly the same, because the way that men in particular do it, because I think it's like very similar for women, but apparently there's another hero's journey. But I think it's just like the hero's journey applies just to the masculine in general within women and in men. And it's like, oh, this tool is an art of prediction. Like, you can predict the next step that you're supposed to go on, especially when it comes to linking your spiritual journey with your personal journey and your business journey. Because I believe that business and spiritual journey is like, if the spiritual journey and business journey is connected together, you experience the most bliss and awe in life. And that comes from one of Joseph Campbell's books called A Pathway to Bliss. There's just like a lot of like evidence to back that up. But I'm like, oh, sometimes people will be stressing out, or something big will happen in business, or take a risk, or there's chaos happening, or, a lot of money comes in. Like, what test is this? Like, what am I going through? Whatever it is. And when you can locate where that is on your hero's journey, and if you're feeling stuck or you're feeling unsure, you're not sure where to go on, you can go, oh, I'm supposed to be here, and this is the next step, and this is the next step, and this is the next step, and this is the next step. There's a blessing and a curse, because it's like, if I adhere to this, I'm going to experience like the best. But if I don't adhere to this, things start taking like a downturn. You're like, why aren't things working out for me? So I believe someone who is in flow is someone who is, taking steps on their hero's journey, regardless if it's chaos or struggle or if it's pure bliss. Your just perception completely shifts. So I wanted to give some context because for me, I've just had multiple moments, but just the awareness of where I'm at on that journey has been pretty transformational for me.
Amazing. Before we go there, can you describe what it is? Like, can you talk about this concept?
Yeah.
Because some people probably don't know what it is.
Yeah, sure. So the hero's journey is essentially a framework used in stories. And basically, if you think about any movie, I'm just going to use The Hobbit for this one. You basically have the Hobbit who's in the Shire and he hasn't left yet. It's known as the known world. So let's say, for example, I use this for someone who wants to get a job and their known world is school. When they finish school, they go to university. It's still known. It's still like the known world. They want to be a doctor. They got no idea what it's like what doctor they're going to be. Are they going to be a surgeon? Are they going to be a GP? Are they going to be a foot specialist? Like, they have no idea what doctor they're going to be, but they want to help and heal people. To jump into the unknown world, there's like a guardian of a threshold that goes from the known world to the unknown world. And for people who want to be a doctor, they feel this call that's like, oh, I really want to be a doctor. But what's preventing them from entering to the unknown world of being a doctor is completing university degree. So that's like the guardian of the gates. Have to complete. There's like some sort of ceremony that initiates them into the world that they don't know of. Once they get their degree, they can start placement. They start working in doctor and figure out where they want to be, and then they go through all the struggles and trials of being a startup doctor, wearing scrubs, and then making a shitload of money, which is the temptations, and then they actually have to start growing and leading teams, and leadership skills may have to grow. And then depending where they're at, like when you start growing and working in business and with family and all the rest of it, you're going to get tested in a bunch of different ways for yourself spiritually and in your ego, and you can either lean into that or resist it. And a lot of people, like once they come around to complete that journey, it's like they may have had a career, 5 to 10 years being a doctor, and they loved it, and they've completed their hero's journey, and they did like a really good job. It's like, okay, now what's the next call? Joseph Campbell quotes, "I believe a good life is one hero's journey led after another." So I'm not going to get so into detail because it's like a whole masterclass, but there's 17 different steps that you can identify where you're at in regards to the hero's journey. And any good movie, any movie that's massive blockbuster hits follows the hero's journey perfectly. Like Dune, Harry Potter, Star Wars, any of the Lord of the Rings, just these massive blockbuster movies, Avatar, they all completely follow all of the steps, and that's why it's so important. It's like the Hobbit leaves the Shire, he goes out to water in the middle, he has to overcome and fight the elves and do all the things to get lost, fall in love with the dwarf, and he doesn't want to go back home, and he has to go back home, and he has to slay the dragon, all the rest of it, which is just metaphors for in our life. It's just symbols. It's like, what's the dragon we're slaying? What are the trolls that we're facing? What's the gold that we're after? What's the gift that we're going to get? What's the actual journey like for us moving forward? And can we see it? And I believe if we don't see it, it can zap our energy. So that's essentially what it is. But that's
the circle. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So where are you at?
That's a good question. That's a good question. Well, this is one thing that I find really interesting is we're on multiple heroes' journeys at the same time, with different areas of our life. It's not just we're on one big grand hero's journey. So it's like if you're talking in the area of relationship, health, wealth,
all main
self-growth,
areas.
All in these different areas. But I do feel that there's there is some sort of bigger picture one that's okay, if you're thinking from the age of when you're born, when you die, I feel like you go through epochs of heroes. So it could be a 5-year stint, a 3-year stint, or a 20-year stint. And what I notice myself get caught a lot in currently is probably these steps that are right in the middle, down the bottom, maybe a little bit more to the right, which are 2 steps. One's called the atonement with the Father, and then the other one is the ultimate boon. So the 2 steps which I would be playing around. Atonement with the Father is the most hardcore one because that's when you're having to face off with your own ego and who you are, and changing your relationship to masculine guidance and guardians in your life by really becoming your own and solidifying that and like your own mark on the world in regards to my specific growth journey, then the ultimate boon is like, what is your greatest gift and how do you want to give that back, to the world, and solidifying that. And it's really sort of collating at the moment, just in regards to like my business, because I've coached men particularly on purpose. We teach a lot of purpose. I've run retreats all around Australia and done workshops all around Australia. We teach a lot of online business, six pack, how to teach people how to get jacked. We teach a lot on communication and nervous system regulation and emotional intelligence. So we've got all of this. And then recently what's really been sort of the kick off where I really feel in flow is dating. Like a lot of my genius and emotional pattern recognition for the gifts that I've learned since, I would say, like the last 12 years have all kind of poured into dating.
Why do you think is that?
I'm not sure. Like, I think when I was 19, 20, I was in a relationship where I got cheated on 10 plus times.
Sorry.
So, yeah, that's
Sucks.
definitely moved past that. But but what happened at that age was I was like, okay, how can I convince her to be with me? That was what was going through my mind. So I started studying pickup when I was 19. So I just started reading Neil Strauss books and Mystery Method and all these books, and then How to Win Friends and Influence People. And
that one is good.
So good, and Think and Grow Rich. But I was trying to learn techniques that I could apply to basically get this girl not to sleep with other people, because I'm stop, we're in love. Why are you sleeping with other people? Thinking it was a me thing, not knowing that it was a her thing. Right? And also at the time I was contributing in the relationship, kind of pushing her away to make her do that. I wasn't taking responsibility for that either.
Pushing her away in which way?
I'd say mean things. I'd say mean things, be like, of course you're doing this. And I'd kind of always test the waters and also kind of create opportunities for that to happen. And I never had any boundaries. I didn't know what they were. And I couldn't read the signs. So I just keep going back. So because of that, it was just it's just been such a strong desire of mine, relationship and dating and just understanding it, because it never really worked for me. Because when I was younger and I was singing, dancing and acting, I got so much feminine attention all the time. I was 12 years old and I'd be laying on a couch and I'd have one girl in between my legs, two laying behind me, one in front of me, and it'd all just be massaging me and touching me.
Wow.
I'm 12. 12. Literally 12.
Okay.
Right? Crazy. So it was just exposed to that all the time. And then when I was 15, 16, it all got ripped away. It was I stopped singing, dancing and acting. And then it was high school stuff, started working in a trade and then going out to town. And men have no value when they're 19, 20. Unless they've got they're some sort of influencer, they've got a crazy job, or mentors, or really parents that make a lot of money. There's no real value that men have. It's harder to have strong emotional intelligence and learn things at that age. You just don't. So it went from so it went from all this attention to none, and then I'm what the hell? And then I would try to do what I would usually do, and just kind of expect feminine attention to come towards me, or sex, or whatever it is. And I couldn't get it. I was just went crazy. I didn't realize that it was only the last couple of years. I'm I have a validation and approval addiction, right? So I was trying to fulfill that need all the time by learning. And then I did it, and I got it through understanding pickup, but that's just manipulation, and that would always make you hurt in the long run. And then the other part of it was actually letting your ego come up and thinking that getting the attention was some sort of conscious thing, was some sort of awareness. I mean, I'm integrated now. This is fantastic. I can have this attention, and it wasn't. You know what I mean? It did still come from ego, just come and caught me up. I was using consciousness and awareness as an excuse to still get my needs met from validation and approval. So dissolving that was just kind of an incredible experience of just really freeing, of just not needing anything, because I'm I'm just anxiously attached at the moment. And then it kind of just felt like everything become clear, and everything that I learned sort of clicked in a way that is really authentic to me. And it's just been working. I'd say this has only happened the last couple of weeks. I've just been posting more content about it and felt permission to do so from myself, because I've been withholding. I've been do I want to talk about this? Do I not? And as I've been talking about it, DMs are crazy. People are messaging me, people coming up to me in the gym saying stuff and I'm oh, this is the flow letting me know that I'm on the right path of the hero's journey, which I'm going on, because I'm getting signs and synchronicities that are happening here. whether it's digitally, in person, or whatever, which I think is beautiful to have. And I'm like, but knowing the hero's journey and understanding the sensitivities of these is like a bit of an art form, and it just feels so like at peace all the time. I don't feel stressed or agitated.
Yeah. It feels like you've done the inner work first. Right. And then you go to like relationships and like how does this work right now for you? Like, how is the communication when you it doesn't mean like dating or not dating, but when you're communicating with women, like how it is right now compared to how it was before?
Yeah. So I was always a little bit on edge. And there was always this expectation for anyone that I would communicate. For me, I'd just go straight to sex. Oh, we're going to have sex. Oh, we're not. You know what I mean? There's like this.
Isn't it what all guys think all the time?
No, it's definitely not, because I feel like when our nervous systems aren't activated.
Women, this is for you.
Yeah.
Listen to this.
This comes from pressure to perform. And growing up as a singer, dancer, and actor, I had to perform. Same with an athlete. If anyone was like playing footy or whatever it is, and they had parents that wanted them to do well, and they validated them when they did well. So I got a lot of praise when I crushed it. And for me, it was like this kind of, as I grew up, it was like the sensitivity to winning, where I had to win bigger and win bigger and win bigger to feel more validation. That wasn't my parents' fault. That was just what I was exposed to. So I'm like, shit, I have to win in order to get validation. I have to be doing something grand. I have to be doing something big, to get validation from people. So, and then one of the ultimate forms of validation is sex. And then growing up, like watching a lot of porn, just like, not the awareness around it now, it was like there's this intimacy factor that was like, oh, I can get intimacy through porn. So my brain had made this link that's like, okay, so when you're talking to a woman, you now have pressure to perform, and your way of thinking performance with intimacy comes down to sex. So it's not like it's the first thing on our brains and we're encoded like that. It's like that's come from a pressure to perform, from validation, and then having a relationship to porn.
Yeah.
But otherwise, when we're calm and we're not activated and that pressure's not here, it's not the first thing that we think about. Like, I don't think so at all. So having to like disable that's been really interesting, because before it was like, oh shit, and that would make me sort of like, who am I in this? And then like the difference now is it's just everything sort of flows, and there's this openness, and there's no pressure, and everything sort of feels beautiful in when I have conversation with someone who I'm like interested in a romantic or an intimate setting, or someone who I'm not interested in that situation and setting. So, and it's just openness in general, which is a really cool place to be.
Yeah, like more vulnerable and more grounded in yourself.
Yeah, embodied, groundable. There's just no stress.
Like there's nothing to prove, and
there's nothing to prove. There's no activation that comes up. There's no like tenseness. Because I know a lot of nice guys fall into this trap as well, and especially sometimes like as guys, I'd say it's more so even if you talk to someone who you're really attracted to. And then understanding for me, I'm like, oh, that's just excitement that I get to talk to someone who has, beauty, radiance, and energy, and it's coming up, and I now learn how to like process it in my body, and it's just like this beautiful experience that I get to feel instead of feel pressure around. I know this is not for every guy, because some guys don't experience this, but there's a lot of us guys who have experiences before and still do, and that's why I think like a lot of men, when it comes to either dating or relationship, when it comes to deep conversations or approaching someone or messaging someone, sort of just like go blank or go numb.
Yeah, like, or say something very like awkward.
Yeah, and like also just knowing as well that like even when a man sees a woman's face, if he finds her attractive, like his testosterone goes right up. So you have more energy,
of course.
And then sometimes with that more energy, you don't want to be like whoa and let it like come out. And other times people can like hide from it. Like men hide from that energy. I notice I would. Sometimes I get overexcited and be a show off. Or I'd be like, oh, I don't want to be a show off. I got to like hide this energy instead of just like allowing it to.
What do you mean by hide? Like not show any?
Shut down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't see you, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Like, oh, she's hot.
Yeah. I know that. So it's not a toxic. It's just like natural response in like what probably men learn to do.
Yeah. Pressure.
Yeah. she's beautiful.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I'm
And
sure women will feel the same sometimes when they see like
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, we play like we don't care,
Yeah.
like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, I'll just gonna be seen. I know that he's gonna see me, but I will do something that it's not like directly towards him, so he can like acknowledge me. Yeah.
But then you smile, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
he gives you a little feedback, and then you get the hit of like, oh, we're going back and forth here now. Like,
And also, eye
I just got a
connection becomes
validation.
weird in these cases. You
Yeah.
like, ooh, for me as a bilingual, like I have I know three languages. I've noticed that when there is that kind of like, like romantic sexual energy, my English gets like, it's almost like I'm in the first grade learning English. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I sound so dumb right now. Like, shut up.
You just get more Belarus.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
Yes.
Like that's interesting. Yeah, but there's a lot of there are a lot of chemical reactions happening in your brain. So I guess remembering the language is not so important in that situation. It's
cool.
interesting, but it's funny. I want to comment on the part where you say that women also can feel when a guy like, and it's okay, right? Like I think like we both, men and women, we think about like sexual and sex and all this stuff, but it's almost like we can feel when there is only that intention behind it, or like not only not let me correct that there's that intention is in front of everything else, and it feels like almost like you just want to like protect yourself from that energy, and you kind of pushing back from this man. So like, as opposed to when the first kind of like interaction, a man is asking about you, like about like your personality, what you like maybe some sort of a, I don't know, compliment, but not like, very weird one or off one. So that's actually very important. So like, obviously there are different things and like that can go like, in any direction between men and women, but like if you guys just connect to the person first, I think that takes the pressure off,
Definitely.
like I just want to know her as the human being first, as the person. Like, do we have values, something like about like something funny about her, or like what is her story? Then it takes the pressure of that situation, and the conversation becomes very easily in the flow.
Oh yeah.
Right? Do you think so?
Yeah, I think so. I got like a terminology for this, and it's quite controversial. I like just putting this into context, and I like to talk to men about this. And I'm like, her pussy, your heart, is the way that I talk about it, because it's like for women, men's intention, what they want to protect. Like, firstly, is like, well, you can't come in here straight away. Like, there needs to be trust and safety first for me to even feel turn on. Right? It's like, for men, it's like a lot of us have to have sex to feel intimacy. When women, it's like, I need to feel intimacy before I have sex, right? So they're like, because it's like a slower kind of feeling. So it's like, it's cool with the yin and the yang for that, how it messages. But for guys, it's like the same way that like she slowly comes in and eventually will open up to you. For men, I feel like the same way for us to do that is to do it, like with our hearts, because it's like, she wants to try to feel your heart. So instead of giving it to her straight away and being like completely open, it's like, well, not being completely open. Sorry, take that one back. It's like not just dumping how you feel, because a lot of men, like nice guys, will be like, here's all my emotions. This is how I'm feeling, and this is amazing. But they can get really carried away. Some men are the opposite and like shut down. But I think in the middle, there's like a certain progression for men that once they get this, everything can change. And it's like, what's the baby steps for her to like actually enable you to get into your heart and open it, regardless if the relationship is like, a short time, a long time, or a lifetime. It's like, okay, when can you get to that like experience to have it open? And that for men is when I feel it's like just before that or that is when a man should actually have sex, because it's creating trust and safety in himself. Because for a lot of us guys, yes, we can have meaningless sex. Yes, we can shut off and do this and have sex without any sort of emotion. But that's like disassociation, and that's like emotional shutdown. And I believe that we don't want to train we don't want to train our nervous systems in that way, because that's training your heart and your like your openness to remain closed, right? And then what I think is the more that we do have moments and sexual experiences like that, is it sort of stores up some sort of negative emotion, sort of like some shame, guilt kind of thing of just like, oh yeah, it's like, whatever, blah, 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 blah. But it robs us of like being able to experience everything that we can have if we have the courage to have clear communication about our desires and how we feel, whilst being able to, receive, the opposite sex at the same time. And I think it's like, it's just a healthy way of.
Yeah. And I love you for that. That's amazing. That's why I told you, like, more people should be like this. What then do you have any comments on, because like, obviously with, I guess like evolution and, like what was okay and not okay 10 years ago, it's completely different right now, right?
Yeah.
I kind of have my kind of old fashioned belief about that. Right now, I hear a lot is just sex, like, it's just sex, like what are you making such a big deal of it? What would you comment on that?
Yeah. Well, firstly, I read Sex at Dawn, and I've read some of the books that, really fight and justify for this cause, like about this polyamorous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's just sex. But what I know for sure is like the more that you have sex with someone, the more you go through limbic resonance in your brain. It's like emotional part of your brain and someone else's brain. You start like really getting into each other's, nervous systems. And one thing for me that's just like I just pay caution to, because it's each to their own, is that you're syncing with someone, like from like a system perspective.
Yes.
So
for sure.
Regardless if there's, it's just casual or it's, something that's more intimate, but at the same time, I'm like, why rob yourself of the intimacy?
Mm-hmm.
Like why, like there's otherwise, like for me, it's like, why catch up with someone and have a sexual experience the same as having a wank, right?
Mm-hmm.
And for me, it's like I quit masturbating like 6 years ago. Like I just haven't masturbated in like 6 years, and I was going to quit this. It doesn't serve me in any way, shape, or form. So I just cut it out.
How
completely.
did you like realize that?
I just cut. Well, I wanted a wife. So for me, at the situation,
6 years ago.
Yeah. So it was around 6 years ago. I was like 26 or 27, 5, 6 years ago, and I had a breakup, and we were like talking about marriage and kids and houses and stuff. It wasn't until we had the breakup that I was like, "Oh, I want this." And masturbation is not serving me in any way, shape, or form. Like I want more energy to pursue someone of, of higher quality, of someone who meets my standards, who someone's like me. And I want to put that energy into my work and become the best version of myself so that I can call someone in of high value, because I really value relationship in general and just high quality people and having high quality experiences. So I cut it. And then after cutting it, I had like all these, realizations of just like, okay, like, when I was quote unquote saving my seed, you could say, when it come to like, 6 or 8 months with no ejaculation, I'm like, I don't want to just to have sex with random person. This is really vulnerable for me.
Wow.
Like there's a lot going on here. Like when I come,
that's interesting.
This is going to be like a whole body experience. Like there's a lot here.
It should be epic.
Yeah. And I don't want to let this go. You know what I mean? There's like a part of me that's like, I feel so good because the energy is just circulating through my body. In general, and I have so much energy that I'm like, I don't know if I want this to stop. You know what I mean? So it was like, do I want to break this? Do I not? So, which is like really interesting. So I'd even practice semen retention in some of my last relationships where we would have sex, but I wouldn't ejaculate. Like, and that was pretty frequent.
That's like a mastery, mastery level.
I wouldn't say it's mastery level. It's just a lot of willpower. Like it's just taking a lot of willpower. But I would do that because I enjoyed the feeling and the motivation and the energy that come from not masturbating. So yeah, that kind of changed my whole perspective of just being like, oh shit. It just makes sense, right? Women can have, during sex, women spend the whole time trying to orgasm. Men spend the whole time trying not to orgasm. Women can have multiple repeatable, 3 different types of orgasms. They can have multiple at the same time, or they can just have one.
It's like a reward
for
all the job.
Yeah, right. Like there's so many, and we're one and done.
Yeah.
And that sort of made sense to me. Or I'm like, oh shit, as men, like we should be the ones who should be refraining from sex as much. You know what I mean? One, because and we've got one and done, and then that energy goes down, and it takes a week to replenish. And then 2, in terms of like, I don't know, just like the spiritual and connection side of it. Once we do hold on to, semen retention and our energy and our life force, it does become like you know that you're going to connect with someone a little bit more, and you also want to wait. You don't want to just. It's like kind of like not eating for a week and then going to eat at McDonald's, right? Breaking your fast at McDonald's. You don't want to do that. It's like you want to take your time, and it's like
very good food.
It's just a whole thing, and you want to like break it and have something else. And something else.
It's like you respect your body way more.
Yeah, which is really cool. Which just brings a whole lot more reverence to it.
Yeah.
So you just include, like, for me, how I've approached it is I'm like, for anyone to have sex with, I want to make sure they have a spiritual connection, emotional connection, a physical connection, and a mental connection. And if that's there, like, I'm happy to pursue it with my heart being open, so that I do have some sort of love experience, be in a bubble of like fun and polarity and chemistry and just all of the above, by being able to feel that and being able to have the conversation that's clear around communication and nowhere near as frequent. So just
I love it. It's this experiment about like marshmallow experiment, right?
With the
kids. It almost like reminds me of that. So like when it's delayed gratification with that, you getting everything: emotional connection, trust, loving, like spiritual connection, depthness of the relationship and conversations. You're getting a partner, almost like you have this absolutely amazing sex. You have everything, right? As opposed to if you just go and jump, from one woman to another woman and have this, like, it's just like a surface level, and like it's eating McDonald's as opposed to like good steak. And
I think it's the same for women too, though.
Oh, for sure. I agree. I
feel like women just intuitively know that more than men.
Yes.
Like, especially if they've done some sort of work or whatever it is. They're like, oh, like, I know this and I feel into this, and like, I need safety interest. Maybe because there's a lot more risk for women as well, because people would get this wrong, STD or being pregnant or whatever it is. You have to be more hyper aware of it when men don't. I think for men it's more of a spiritual thing that we have to learn. And I hope, like, I think it's really good for women to know and understand this, so that when they're going on dates, or they understand men, one, they can ask them questions to see where they're at with it, but also to inform them of what it's like when a man does do this for his own power, which I think is just really important. So she can like awaken that within him just by understanding.
Last guy asked about his attention, dished me.
He asked him what his addiction?
His intention. Like, what is your intention? Like, in relationship in general. And the look on his face was like, and I'm like, well, this is a okay question. Like, if you on Hinge, that's going to be on your profile. Long-term relationship, short-term relationship, casual dating, it's going to be there. So why not, if I am asking you? And that's exactly the reason. Like, I don't want to spend or waste any time if you just want that surface level, like, go to McDonald's thing.
We don't want no drive-through cheeseburgers out here.
I want a more of a, depthness, and it doesn't, like, I'm not asking you to marry me tomorrow. I'm just saying about your intention. And what you said about, I don't know how it is with like modern women. I guess, again, like, things are changing, and I've met women who like it's just sex, and I'm just experiencing, a lot of that stuff. There's no judgment there. But for me, my generation, at least how I grew up, the body and the sexual experience is so sacred that I don't want to share this with like whatever, like every guy I meet and think he's going to be like the one, until we get into that level where I feel like, okay, this might go somewhere. But the very good question to ask is like, and I don't think there is a threshold on the maybe first date is just like you kind of getting to know the energy, and then you decide if you go there. But it's if like a third or fourth date, I think it's okay to ask. What do you think?
I think you used to have sex on the first date.
No, not the sex, but like ask what your intentions are.
I think before you even meet up in person.
So just like, where is this guy? Oh, his Instagram. Okay, before we meet, here's the questionnaire.
What's your intention? That's actually a really funny story. One of my friends was talking to a girl that they met on Hinge, and he was like, dude, it's so funny. I think she was talking to you before she started talking to me. I was like, oh, really? Why? What'd you say? And she's like, he asked me what my intention was before we even met up. And then I told him, and then he just left me on red. And I was like, well, the intention must have not have like, tickled my fancy or whatever it is. I think it's really important. I think one of the, like, I think we're blessed with social media and Hinge and all the rest of it, because you can, filter out what like you want so quickly. There's a blessing and a curse, but I think it's really good to, like, in terms of how quick you can move like through things. But I think it's also fantastic for being able to understand when which is the hard part. People who complain about Hinge,
they think they know what they want. Yes,
yeah,
that's the biggest.
And complain about Instagram or complain about modern dating. They just don't know what they want. They haven't spent the time to think about it, because when they know what they want and they start talking to people, it's like, oh, that person's not what I want. That's not what I want.
There are filters that they can, go like very fast through. I'm like, he seems nice, but this is what is not acceptable for me, or like, oh, this is not what I'm looking at in the partner, and just move on. Don't think about like, oh, he's gonna change or she's gonna change. Oh, let's see if that's gonna change. Like, just get the reality the way it is, and decide. Like, I know for sure, like, I'm not looking for anyone that will be just like in the middle of like nowhere trying to figure out things and without the purpose. Actually, like, to me, one of the things that I like, I guess, like, admire, and I think I wouldn't have any relationship with the person who doesn't have purpose, especially for a man. I think that's so important, and you touched on that, right? Why do you think it's so important for men to have a purpose?
Oh, this was a really good question. Well, I'm just going to compare it to women while we're here, because I feel like a lot of women can find purpose through having a child.
Yes.
Like, if they don't have purpose and their life isn't going anywhere, it's like biologically they can just have a child,
Mm-hmm.
and then their brain and their heart and their body and nervous system rewire to make that the purpose, and then the family, right? So if they don't have any grand mission or anything like that, even if they don't desire it, I feel like there's a lot more fulfillment that can be done, like, through that side of through the side of the growth. But for men, we don't, right? And with our family, with our parents, our siblings, our brothers and our sisters, this is one thing as a man, like, speaking for myself, is I don't have to hang around them. I can go start my own family.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't have to seek any of my connection or fulfillment through them. So it's like, I can go move across the world. I can do this. I can go here. I can do anywhere, be anywhere I want, do anything in the world in terms of job or career, or help or mission. And it's so overwhelming for men to make that choice.
Yes.
Especially in the modern day. When people go on Instagram and they look at all the online jobs, the sales and the this thing and that thing and the running of the ads, and this whole world of jobs, it's like, people who are, a lot of people doing tradie jobs, working as an apprentice, like, that model's outdated. I feel like there has to be a lot more mentorship instead, and more like business buy-in, teach people how to build business even when they're on the tools to hire people. Because it's like, a lot of people, when I was on the tools, comparing myself to people on social media, but then I'm understanding there was a lot of my friends who had got tradie jobs and then started businesses, and they're making a shitload of money, and they were so free because they, like, hired people and started employees in their own business. And I'm like, man, that's a good opportunity to get ahead while everyone's moving online. The people who are doing the in-person on the tools stuff have this amazing opportunity to get ahead of everyone. So there's just like a lot of comparison that I believe goes between both, and I've experienced that, and it's making the to quote Benjamin and Becca, the choiceless choice for men, right? It's like, what's this choice that I want to make, which is so sacred to me, because men have this encoded DNA part that when they commit, like, they commit, and every time they break their commitment, in general, anything, like, they break a commitment, it's like, oh, my commitment. My commitment to commitment has also broken a little bit.
Yeah.
Right?
I think that's why they don't commit at all now.
So yeah, a lot of guys won't commit. But at the same time, there's so much coming in. So it's like understanding, what you can commit to. There's also a caveat to that when you've got good boundaries or things aren't in alignment, and you might be like, oh, I'm committing to this. And you're like, why did I commit to that? That is not actually where I want to go, because I have purpose and I know what my purpose is. And this is the line that I want to go with that, because I believe purpose is a filter. It's not so much a career. It's not so much where you're going through.
Yes, for sure.
Because
it could be in any area of your life. Like, what is your purpose as the society member, right? Like, and in general, like, what is I feel like it's a lot of spiritual, like, what do you feel inside? Like, are you a good person? Like, are you making other people like, I don't want to say happy, but around you. But like, we know when you have that energy, uplifting, and like people just love being around you. I think that's also could fall under the purpose.
It's a sign that you're on the right path.
Yeah.
I think purpose, a lot of it has to do with service. It's like, how can you be serving at your highest capability when you let yourself go, your ego go, the world go, and everything? It's like, what are you doing to be of highest service with your gifts? And if you haven't got the gifts, it's like, what are the gifts that you want to really cultivate so that you can be high of service, which, really follows your heart? And you don't necessarily have to get paid for that, right? It's like, okay, this is what, because you could do that on the side. Like, you could have a normal job, but then you love raising money to build forests, and that's your like side project, but your normal job feeds that, right?
Yeah. And I feel like it's gonna align, one way or another somehow. I feel like I've never met a person who is like, my purpose is I'm doing this and this is my job. Like, I feel like in the hero's journey is just gonna like, merge into something. Like, you never know how it's gonna go, right? Like, you just need to answer the calling.
Yeah, right. It is answer the call. And I think the beautiful part of purpose, when you understand what it actually is for you and you have that filter, every decision that you make has to align with that. And then the question that you ask is, what can I do at my highest capacity to align with my purpose? So mine's like challenging and setting the standard for inspiring leaders. Like, I love that. So everything that I do is like, how can I do that at my highest capacity? So I'm always asking questions, and then when I'm not living and aligned with that, I feel like shit. I feel down. I feel depressed. I feel anxious. But when I am living aligned with that, and I have like a good conversation, or it's a coaching call, or whatever it is, and it does feel aligned with, I'm like, oh,
it's like vibration is different, right? It's like you feel more inspired by the spirit inside of you than like the fear comes in, the doubt comes in, like thinking like, oh, you start comparing yourself to others. That's the misalignment part.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, what am I doing right now that kind of drives me from that alignment? And how can I like, I don't want to say fix it, but how just shift towards my best self.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's when you can feel a lot more certain in yourself. Because if a man like hasn't got purpose, he's got way too many choices. He doesn't know which way he's going. But even still with purpose, you still have a lot of choices. Like, it was hard for me to go and lean into dating, which I've been leaning into recently. It's like, I don't want to be doing it in 5 years. But for me, I'm like, well, dating is an ultimate expression of like, you have to have your business sorted out. You got to understand where you're going in your career. You have to have a strong, healthy body. You have to have strong emotional intelligence. And it's like,
there's no time for a woman. Sorry.
Yeah. So if you want to, but it's like, but that's where the challenge and the setting the standard comes part in. And a lot of men who want to lead, and especially in relationship with the family, be a protector and a provider. It's like, these are all signs that you can do that. And it's like, by sorting that out first. Like, one of the best things that I learned in pickup, which I really liked in pickup, was the very first thing the guy said in one of the books that I was reading. I was 19 when I read this. He's like, if you want to get like high quality women, this isn't just pickup techniques. You have to become a stud. You got to crush it in your career.
For sure.
Get fit, dress well, all these things. You have to become that guy before it comes in. And then they just went through all these manipulation techniques. But it was like, I felt way more attached to the become that guy before everything else. So it's like, okay, if I want to, test people the most, it's that. And then because I've built like a lot of men's communities and I've had so much fun around my men's community, it's like, I want to help people build, like men also build their own community as well, because that demands so much of you as a leader. So I'm like, for me, I'm like, currently, I'm like, that is like the best way I can of my service. For me, test and challenge, other people, because like I've done that, and let's bring them to here.
Okay. So a couple questions here. Do you think then a man should work on himself first, right? Like the body, the health and things like that, and then get into like dating?
Good question. No.
Because this is what I hear. And, I've gotten into a couple arguments with that, because apparently what's happening is that men is like, women are they're the evil part of my journey right now. They just take away from my own personal transformation. And I spend like I'm like, well, I don't know, like that's probably the wrong woman. I'm like, I just don't see it this way. What do you think?
So you could say that for this, right? You could say like, oh, I want to be an online creator and make money off of Instagram, but my phone's distracting me because I'm scrolling on it all the time.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure. I love
But that
it.
makes you a lot of money.
Yeah.
And you show up really well. It's the same
Mhm.
thing. It's like what I would say to someone in that situation is it's like the whole purpose, like let's say someone comes into your life and you get like engulfed in the whole like, oh, here we go. Let's like, we're going to move to this. I'm thinking about them all the time. This is a distraction and this is blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, well, the skill for you to learn is boundary setting and leadership and being able to do both at the same time.
Time management.
Right. Which is, you're going to have to learn that in a
Yeah.
relationship anyway. You're not going to get to a position, I think, as a guy where it's like, oh, I've done all this stuff and now I want to like chill. Like, hello when you're 50. You know what I mean? Like, that can happen. And I know for a lot of people, like it can, but even still, let's say you make all the money and stuff by like 30, you're still going to hustle. You're still going to have fun. You're still going to do other things. And the woman's still going to feel like a distraction or a temptation.
Of course.
Regardless. You can delay.
Yeah.
If you feel more comfortable delaying that and you're like, I don't want to learn that skill yet, that's fine. You know what I mean? But I feel like for some men in particular, they actually need a woman to awaken their purpose.
Yes.
For some men, right? Not all men, for some men. There's like this thing.
Who would
like,
be those who don't need women?
I don't know. I really don't
You
know.
say some.
Yeah, it's just, I would say, you know, it's, I don't know, I've just been coaching some people before and I've just been like, you need a partner. But I think it's finding the right partner. I feel like any woman can bring that out in a man if you know, if I'm speaking for a guy's perspective specifically, if he finds the right partner that can, you know, engage and awaken him and empower him, which I think, you know, there's a lot of like,
Oh yeah, absolutely. In all like, you know, like money is sexual energy, right? Like a lot of the, you know that, right? I know. Okay. So it is a sexual energy. Like why, not for all, but if you're like, I think like the first comes the inner work, you know, regardless, like you gotta like, as you said, like you wanted the validation first, right? So you work on that part. And for men, and I follow a lot of like absolutely beautiful like guys that I like see their values. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And what they say is that I start making like my career went like boom. I'm making more money than I've ever made. Like when this woman came into my life. Right. Because she started like, you know, motivating me into like not like saying certain like things or coaching him. It's just she was her feminine part there and she was just for him, like his partner. And he is like, I want to take care of her. I want to buy things for her because like I want this woman to be on top. And when this dynamic happens, like Hormozes, right? Like they probably will be something like a power couple. My friends Jared and Caitlin, they've been together for 20 years. And he just like we were talking, he's like, I love buying her things because just that's that smile on her face. Like I love taking care of her and she makes me like always the better man.
Yeah.
Like, and that's just like the flow that goes together.
I think it's a weird feeling that it's actually pretty spiritual that men can't see because you can't write it down.
Yeah.
So like you can write it down, track it or something else. It's literally just a feeling of motivation that men get in inherently that like wakens, which I would be assuming was similar to having a child of just being like, oh shit, I need to protect this person. And something switches and you just have more energy in general. And you become more boundary setting. You become more of a savage in terms of just like, oh, this person's underperforming. Like, I need to get rid of them. I should have got rid of them like a year ago.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Like, what am I doing? Because it's like, you know, my family is like more important and she's more important to me than, you know, holding on to some sort of fear or something that's happening. And it's only been like the last couple of years that I've felt that come up, and I'm like 32, that I've actually felt that emotion come up, like in dating and in relationships, being like, whoa, this is so activating. And I couldn't see this, you know, in my early 20s, which is why, you know, one part of me thinks, you know, for some men, it could be all men, just in general, I think it's one of the things that's the right woman. There's a lot of men mentors that I look up to that are reading research and they're like the single, you just even see it on social media, like the single greatest decision a man can make is like the woman that he's with. It's like, it's communicated everywhere. And you know, for me, that was something that I had to take into consideration. It's like, when it comes to choosing a woman, especially for like long-term relationship, it's like, you really want to take your time and make sure that those emotions come up and that she still supports you in them. Because I've been in like a lot of relationships as well where it's felt competitive. where I felt like it's been taken from
Oh
me
yeah, like
rather
you were
than
competing with her.
yeah,
Yeah, I hate that.
rather than it was like supporting me and
Uh-huh.
lifting me and encourage me, and then I'd like feel guilty, for succeeding or doing well or something, or I feel like I need to hide it, or that like, I'm going to be working a lot or whatever this is, and she's not going to support me with this, instead of like, no, like keep working, keep going, like I respect you and what you're doing, and you make time
Mm-hmm.
at a different stage, and being able to like respect that, it's just insane, especially for someone who's gone through nice guy, because I feel like someone like me who's had like a nice guy syndrome is like, well, I'll do everything above and beyond for her, and I'll make all the time, and I'll cut all the thing, and blah 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 blah. So if I don't get that emotion back, even though it's like a covert contract, it like zaps a lot of my energy. So it's just like for us as men, knowing that we feel safe and trusted in the pursuit of our purpose and our career and what we're doing, um, regardless of what that looks like, knowing that at some point we're going to swing the pendulum back to prioritize intimacy or connection or whatever it is that both people are
Yeah.
desiring.
Mm-hmm.
It can also be the other way around in relationships.
Yeah, I think for women it's also a lot of work, and like
It's so much work
it's
for
for
both
both.
parties.
Yeah,
So much,
I know.
'cause I feel like, like I had a
Because there's
moment.
just a lot of things that are going around, like all guys, like this generalization thing, like oh man, all women, and it's like push and pull. It's like one of the amazing things right now, and I feel like the Me Too movement, whatever it happened there, but like now what's happening is like women are expected to work as much as like men, right? Like bring salary home and look good and want sex and be feminine,
It's a lot.
and do this and also communicate and be vulnerable and work. Like that's just a lot.
It's a lot.
So that's why, interesting when and for men to understand this is like, look, taking care of, like, I'm not talking about like all women that you're dating, right? But like if you feeling like, okay, I'm ready, like I want to explore more like a long-term relationship, taking care of your woman will actually bring you way more energy, because she will be able to get into her feminine and like, oh wait, okay, so like I can actually like do more of my things, and make him happy as well, as opposed to like hustle work, like I don't have time for you, like I have these emails right now, da, 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 da. So like the pressure, right? So that's what kind of was my thing right now, because I hear this a lot, especially when like
I can speak to that.
I pay for your coffee this time. Oh, it just happened like once with like, with me on a date. And I'm like just truly believe if like the man pays for coffee or for the dinner, like I'm not splitting the bill. Sorry. And I was like, oh, uh, it was just, he said it in a way where it's like with a bravado, like, yeah, I pay for for your coffee this time. And I'm like,
Oh, she on a date and the guy said that?
yeah. And I'm like, uh, sure, thank you. I'm like, I can pay for my coffee. Like, this is not like, why did you need to say it? Like, things like that, just super interesting.
Yeah, well, I can speak to a lot on that.
Because you're also from Australia, so like it's probably maybe you're 32, so you grew up and maybe seeing certain different things, as opposed to new generations right now. It's like we're splitting the bills.
Yeah, well, I also feel like in regards to that as well, like I do feel like finance plays a certain role
Big
in it.
role.
Like a lot of
Big
people in
role.
Australia are struggling right now. So they're like trying to manage, trying to save, and there's people who are like, it's just such a bell curve. People who are just like in the middle struggling. People who have no money, and then people who have a shitload of money.
Mhm.
So it's crazy.
I think
being
it's
American.
everywhere like this.
But in America, everyone here is so abundant. Everyone that I've met, I'm just like, wow, like, there's just so much money over here, like, and it moves, and it's like really cool to watch. But I think in regards to like speaking on experience for men is like just business, and I think Entrepreneur's Journey is like the best hero's journey, right? So where you're going out and starting a business, or you're making money, or you're using your career in order to build and gain wealth, because you got to like. And one thing that I've noticed as well is even with the people who make millions and millions of dollars, like one of my close friends, he's made like $50 million. He's here in Austin, and he's in court at the moment, and he's been fighting a court case because some attorney of his, ruined this 10, 20 million deal of his. And they did it in a really nasty, aggressive way, which they should not have done. The attorney broke the law, right? So he's been fighting for this.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't want to fight for this, but out of morals and stuff, like, I feel like I have to do this. And it's like, wow. So even when people think, oh, they have a lot of money, they're not going through money struggles. It's like every single person that I've met who has a lot of money is going through some sort of money struggle. It's just on a bigger degree.
Yes,
right? There's
of
just
course.
more money.
More responsibilities.
Yeah. So they're moving it around. So it's like, it's not like, oh, this is like a few $100s, a few thousand. It's like, oh, this is like 10 mil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, oh, people can say, oh, that's all right for you because you've got a lot of money. And it's like, imagine if you think of percentages, like, you're making, say someone's making like 150 grand a year, and it's like, this is a thing that's worth like 20, 30 grand. You know what I mean? It's like, that's a significant chunk of money for the year. It's just like, I believe, I like looking at money in percentages like that. I'm like, man, that'd be so cooking to my nervous system. But if a man's on the hunt and he's working and it's like a career, business, whatever it is, and, it's like he gets home and he can receive feminine energy in terms of massage and softness.
Oh,
and
yeah. Yeah. And just like happy face. Like, I'm so happy to see you.
And then it gives you the courage to crush the next day. Because in my experience, I was so resistant to that. Right. Because when I received a lot of love from my mum, from my perception as a child, there was a lot of moments where there was like alcohol involved, or she'd come into my room like without knocking on the door. And for me, it felt really invasive. So when she would come to like give me some love or do something, I just had this kind of like stay away from me kind of vibe. So when it come to relationships, when I would have to receive feminine softness, I'd be like,
triggered it
that,
back. Yeah.
Hell no. Like that's like, cut that off. That's cringe. That's gross. That's disgusting. Like, ew. Right. So, but I could never accept like the nervous system reset from that could come from that. Like,
it's like an immediate response in your body.
Yeah.
It's like,
so it's only been like the last year that I've been able to like consciously turn that off, because I'm like been trying to stretch my capacity for it to receive that way. And as I have, like for me, I literally talk to my friends like, wow, I feel this like sovereign energy come up, and my fear of rejection goes down. My hustle of like, oh, I got to call these people and sort this out goes down. My ability to pitch myself, like increases. You know what I mean? What I want to post on social media and show up authentically, and the amount that I want to post is like increases. It's like, the delivery and, what I want to learn and study and give to people in my community increases. And it's all just come from like just receiving feminine energy in general. It doesn't even have to come from like a woman.
Yeah.
Sometimes I call my dad and he can like, validate me or whatever it is. Like, because, he's someone who can play that role. One of my close friends that are in my men's community, like I talk to them all the time, that I can, have these conversations with where I feel validated. And that is like some sort of, feminine nurturing care, even though it comes from like, the masculine. And if it does come from a woman, I've got some women in my life that, I can also call and rely on and, have some experience with, even I'm not in a relationship, which can like center me, ground me, and then help me make, better decisions, in the world, which I find is so necessary.
So overall message here is you need a woman. All right. It was absolutely amazing. I have 3 signature questions in the end. So the first one would be, what would you say to the man or woman who knows they're meant for more but feels scared to bet on themselves?
Such a beautiful question. For the man or woman who knows that they have more, but they're so scared to bet on themselves, is honestly just going deeper in your own journey. I would actually go through and like read or study the hero's journey and map it out for yourself and what that looks like whilst answering the question. Like you can just YouTube what's the hero's journey.
Yeah.
They'll just explain it step by step. I've got a podcast on that if anyone listens to it as well. I like explain it out step by step. I got one talking in June, and then I think one was episode 55 of my podcast at the Standard.
We're going to link it below.
Yeah. And answering the question, what do I want to do like at my highest fulfillment? Like I really liked, how can I be of my highest service? Alan Watts in a meditation I like listening to him. He just talked about this, and it just really stuck with me. He said, when I talk to students, I just keep asking them, what would they do if money wasn't a problem? Like, what would they do? And I keep asking and asking and asking and asking, and then finally we get down to the bottom of it, and I'd say, well, go and do that, because what is living a life doing stuff that you don't want doing for a purpose that's not actually yours. He's like, that's stupid. He's like, it doesn't make any sense. So he's like, if you want to live an outdoors life and you like riding horses, it's like, go and do that.
Go do that,
Yeah, you know what I mean? You got to be including that with whatever you're doing. So that's what I would first ask, and then sort of design. Like when you sort of land on something, it's like start designing your life around making that come to life. But what that actually looks like is sitting down with a pen and paper, having conversations with ChatGPT, watching a couple of YouTube videos, having conversations with people and friends like, hey, let's set up a dinner and let's talk about what we're doing with our lives. Because it's so easy for us to get caught up in living in the mundane that we don't actually take time to do that, which is why I have a men's community.
Yeah, it's like I have no time. It's like, this the freight it was like a story where a man is trying to cut the tree with like a very dull saw, and there's like, hey, what do you do? Like, just stop and like, sharpen the saw. And he's like, I don't have time for this. I need to cut the tree.
Oh yeah, I like that. I know the story, but not in that frame. It's like, look, I haven't got time for this.
So it's like that. To me, what was like when I experienced that kind of near-death experience, I honestly was just sitting and thinking, I have only one life. There's only one time. There's not going to be like redo or like going back. So I might as well just go in with everything and live according to my passion. And you will know that. You
have to.
Yeah.
Even if you fail. Like you have to.
Because what is failure is just
giving up. Failure is giving up.
No. I mean, like people perceive certain things. Oh, is like I failed. Like in my life, when I started rebuilding my entire nervous system and like mindset, I was like, I don't want to see any like I don't fail. It's just one path that just didn't work. Yeah. It's like going on a date with one person, coming home and saying dating is not for me. It's just one person, like so. It's just keep on trying different things and finding the flow. And there's a Russian saying, I'm going to try to paraphrase it in English.
Say it in Russian first.
Все, что просто для роста. Все, что ложно, то сложно.
So cool.
Yeah. So basically, everything that is kind of flowy and easy for you, like sometimes you're like, wow, like just like things happen. Like everything just worked out. Like what? Yeah. Like that is your growth. And when you like feeling that you just constantly pushing against like the wall and nothing is moving, that's what just like, hey, just stop and reflect. Maybe it's not that your dream is not that, like not going to be in your life or like the purpose is wrong. Maybe this exact path is close for you right now. Step back and see which way. Maybe like there's another way, an easier way and faster,
Yeah. Or harder if you want that journey. Because I feel like for some people,
like, let's go there.
Yeah. Well, sometimes I feel like for some people, it's like choose the hard journey so you can have the discipline.
That was me, but I'm like, oh wait, there is an easy way. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that.
Depends where you're at.
Everything is gonna be hard in your journey, right? Like, making the podcast is like, wow, that's amazing. We're having so much fun. There's so many hours behind this podcast where you can literally say like, oh my God, it's so hard. It is hard. Like for certain, like I had a guest, Jared. He's like, he's looking at everything. He's like, oh wow. I'm like, what? He's like, I could never do this.
It's a lot.
Yeah, he's like,
podcasting.
I'm like, this is just like my setup. Like you can Google everything. He's like, not me. I would be like, I just put my phone there and I like, that's not me, So like for some people it would be difficult, but I feel like when you perceive certain things as normal, it is normal to have difficulties there. It depends on how you see them, right? Oh, yeah. If you just like, oh, poor me, like this is so difficult, or like, oh, let's go. This is like a challenge with these mics. I'm like, oh, wait a second. The cords are too short. They're not going to be able to reach the end of the room. Oh, I ordered new cords. Oh, wait a second. It's USB-C to USB-C. I'm like, now I need to buy this like a USB-C A. I'm like, why? But like I figured that out. Like was it difficult? Yes.
Yeah.
But
you created the space for that.
Yeah, exactly. So just be open and like be in a learning mode. I feel like that's another thing. Like when you just curious, like I'm a student of life. So whatever happens, I'm willing to learn new things and be open and not being so skeptical or ego driven. Like, oh, I know better. like, oh, I should have done it by now, Okay, I love it.
I feel that. Yeah.
Question number 2. If you had to describe your transformation in 3 words, what would they be?
My transformation in 3 words would be big, intimate, and purposeful.
Big, intimate, and purposeful.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It feels very... Okay, awesome. And the final question. What's one truth you live by now that you didn't before?
Interesting. That's a really good question. Yeah, this would be one, is that your heart doesn't have to close.
Oh. I had that a couple of years ago. Yeah.
I've been really practicing since my last relationship of just keeping my heart open in general. And that's not just in intimate settings, like in partnership. That's with friends.
Define what you mean by keeping your heart open. Maybe some people don't know what it is.
Okay, it's so interesting, right? It's like I was having this conversation yesterday. Keeping your heart open is sort of like being able to really own your desires while simultaneously having boundaries. It's by being able to feel as much as possible without shutting off. It's about being able to, speak your purest intention without giving too much away, right? It's like too much of yourself away. So it's like all of these different little things you can put into categories of just like living in a duality of multiple different realms of being able to balance parts of you that expand and then contract, and just witnessing your body, your mind, your heart, your emotions, without being able to feel and experience reactivity and choose not to in the moment at the same time as well. So
blending.
Yeah, it's like, I think there's so many different ways to explain it. But for me, it's more of like an emotion and a feeling of like letting go, but doing it from a place of control. So, like I'm speaking with kind of oxymorons of like one side and this side, but it's being able to live in
place of control. You mean like you willingly letting it go? That's what you mean. Not when like life is just like pressing you, like, and you're like, okay, I'm letting it go now.
Yeah, well, because I think you can do that from like a state of egoism. It's like, oh, I've got all these taxes, I'm just going to let that go and not worry about it, right? On an extreme, right? So yeah, for me, it's like being able to be in a state like that all the time, right? Regardless of what happens. As you can have someone who could say something to you, and it could be a friend, and next minute you're like, oh, I feel like triggered right now, and like you might want to have like, you might feel a little bit angry at them or whatever it is, and you just notice that it's there, and you're like, well, I'm tense. Like, this doesn't really mean anything. I don't have to feel like this. I'm going to choose to just love on them anyway. And I feel like being able to do that, what it looks like is like, if I'm speaking to relationships in general, it's like you can love someone even knowing that, even with the risk of, by being completely willing to have your heart broken at any time, and you're not controlling the situation at all. It's just like, I'm just open within this. It's the same thing as like you can hire team members and staff, and you can love on them and develop a really good relationship with them, even if they're going to leave you or underperform, or you might come across micromanaging, and you might have like guilt and shame yourself. You're like, fuck, I was like really like angry or stressful at one of my employees today, like whatever it is. I've just been like, no, I'm just choosing to be open, and the next time I talk to them, I'm going to speak to it if I have to, and I'm going to be open towards them and show them, it's not even show them, because it's not to prove them. It's just like, to be really centered in myself, so that our relationship doesn't have to have, I like took my way out of that again. Doesn't really have to have anything. Right? It's a state of being. And I found that like I've been committing to that, and what that looks like for myself is when I notice it's sort of like, I've literally noticed my sort of heart shut off, or like cave, or collapse, or I feel like a contract. I just like I physically open my body, and then I feel myself sort of opening. Okay, what do I say, do, behave in a situation from here that's from a place of like an open heart? And most of the time it's nothing.
Yeah.
Just do less.
Yeah.
And I feel less tension.
Yeah, not being stuck in that moment that where you felt or you did something and like beating yourself up over this and like just like, hey, let me just shift back to my center when my heart, it literally, funny you said it. I wrote the same thing yesterday in my journal when I was like going to sleep. It's been like really busy and things are happening and like the movie documentary and all this stuff. So I'm like, I was feeling a little bit off my kind of like natural loving space with employees too. And I was writing, like, I was like, oh, wait, but I don't need to do anything about it. I just acknowledged it's there. And what I need to do is just bring myself back to that open heart space and act from the space of love and carry and nurture is like my nature instead of the space of fear or guilt or shame.
Yeah.
And that was just a beautiful realization for me. I'm like, oh.
I feel like an open heart feels like a big exhale.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. It's like when you just take that and you have that.
Let's do it all together. Let's do it one more time. Let's inhale. Inhale first.
It's like being able to make a decision from
that
place, and speak from that place and love from that place in general. It's like I find that really, really like awesome as well. And even it's like bringing that even to like if I'm creating ads on Facebook, it's like how can I, if I'm creating these ads or I'm a call to action or I'm creating some content, it's like how can I bring this place into what I create? And then every time that I do tap in, it's like I'll get a reel hit over 100,000 views and I get like 700 comments.
Because it's from the loving space, not from the salesy marketing, like hook viral, like clickbaity.
Ad will click somewhere or someone will feel something and they'll go, oh, this thing that you posted, like I want to, like just in regards to sales, it's like I want to jump on your thing for this, I want to speak to you about this, or, like wherever that comes from, it'll just comes in, which I think is so cool and like beautiful to witness. And it's like, there's so much language around it and I've spoken around it like 6 times, but I'll just leave it.
I love it. All right. Thank you so much. Where people can find you.
Yeah, cool. So just suss me out on Instagram as Corey Boutwell, Corey Boutwell. So I'm there. My company is called Set the Standard. It's, if you put that into any search bar, you'll find my podcast. I'm on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, all the rest of it. And I absolutely love podcasts.
So Corey is actually probably one of not a lot of people who I follow and listen to his podcast. It was like, oh, wait, well, that's actually very good. I love it. All right. Thank you so much.